Welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I feel like it's going to be a very fun conversation.
Yes. Well, fun is the name of the game, and fun is what life is all about.
It is, and you're looking glamorous.
Thank you.
Let's just get right into it. Let's just start by saying welcome to Kevjet, first of all. And what does life look like for Lauren these days?
Business is good. Seems to have been taking up a bit more now. Books on the way. Another book's on the way. So that's going to keep me pretty busy. And of course, now that keeps me busy as well. So yeah, everything regards to it keeps me busy. And for a while, and there are lots of other things, I have to do, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Sure. Because we kind of go back. You sort of entered the scene into everybody's life at an early age through antiques.
Yes, with Terry Wogan.
Amazing story. Is that something that you've kept up, and is that something that you're still interested in?
I'm sticking to the real deal every day, and I know every question. I know every China. I always say, what's that? That's Dalton. And I am a genius. I'm an antique genius. And they said I was a dwarf, and I wasn't. Obviously, I was a child, but I was so clever. But yeah, I know everything about China. I know they said you weren't a genius. Yes, it went on for years, but just watch what Dickie says, and then they'll know I am.
It's amazing. I love that story. And then moving on through the years, you have done all the antiques, but you've stayed in television. You've stayed in the eyes of the public. Has that been something that's been difficult for you, sharing your life with the general public?
No, I've been on a mission for the LGBT community. I think that was been my main aim. People to know it's not about your gender, it's who you are. But I did find out recently I was born into that, so it's very complicated. I do believe in it's not your gender, it is who you are. That is why I did Celebrity Big Brother, because I wanted people, because Terry Wogan once said to me, why do you want to be on that show? And I said, so people don't see me as, they see me as Lauren. They don't see me as anybody else. They see me as the person that I am, not just my gender and who I used to be. And I was a child anyway, because I had gender reassignment about when I was about 18, 19. I wanted to be very young when I had it so that I could live the life I've led.
Do you have any regrets with that?
I think I don't regret. I don't look back. I just look forward. There's no point because you can't go back.
Did you feel that it was a form of rebirth?
Yes, I did feel like it was a form of rebirth. It was, I remember Mel Gibson, though he was frozen, I've forgotten the name of the film, the day before surgery, and I met Robbie Williams. Went out, just been on this morning, and they did the terrible makeup job of me. Years of Arlene Dietrich, Judy Finnegan, and Richard. They asked me to, it was horrendous. Anyway, I was walking past somehow, and I saw this red carpet, and I thought, let's have a sort of interesting. And I stood there, and as you would. And then I noticed this big black car came up. Oh, gosh, that's interesting. I said, who is it? Don't you know? And there was like hundreds of people. It was Robbie Williams. And he kissed me and said, oh, I saw you this morning, babe. You're wonderful. And then, of course, I woke up in hospital with this big orchid and flowers and card. And I'll never forget. That was lovely.
That's very special.
You feel special. And you need that. You always need that. Especially when you're on your own, because it can be ever so lovely.
It is. And also, did you find it such an individual and personal journey did you find it difficult to let people in during that time?
I find it's a very emotional journey, and I think people should be near you. And I definitely think you should definitely not be on your own. And I definitely think I went through it a lot too quickly. I think you need time.
Sure.
A couple more years. I have the tendency to jump into things straight away. But over the years, and as I've got older and wiser, I think that it is better to wait. Because once you have something like this, it's for life. And, I don't think you have to wait 2 years, but I believe you should wait 4 or 5 years first. But it is a terrible feeling of inadequacy while you wait, you see. That's the thing. And I do understand why you want it now, but remember, you've got the rest of your life. So a few more years, it's not going to make any difference. And also, always had a family near you. I did want my family near me, but it was very expensive to live in London. A lot of, we had a lot of family around because I was on this morning and then I was on before and then after.
And you got a book from
Yes, I've said about my book. And, and I don't know what to call it yet, though. And also, then they didn't realize, television didn't realize how difficult it was to go into hospital and then straight away on television. It's too much, too soon.
Did you feel like a lot of pressure?
Yeah, it did. And then I was on Thanksgiving bells on the stage. And you had to see, I was the secretary on the West End. And I remember feeling I was so uncomfortable because I just had surgery and I was sitting on a stool. I worked, you see, it straight afterwards. And it was too much. And then I had to have more surgery because of that. So I made a mistake, but I learned from it and everything's fine now.
So your advice to somebody who is contemplating having the surgery at a young age would be to give it some time?
Yeah, definitely give it some time and to rest once you've had it done. Don't pick up anything heavy. Don't go travelling all over London. Don't go all over the television show in London also. But I can't take that tube. I'm never very good at tube. But don't work. Rest is the challenge. So I didn't. But it's not only a physical thing, it's a mental thing as well.
Sure.
It's a very big ordeal. And you have to have support. And I did. I've always had my family support. But you also have to have financial support as well. But we couldn't get it done in Cardiff, so it was London. That's why I went public in the first place.
I do have friends who have recently gone through it and they talk about the financial aspect of it. So I know it's a huge burden for people to take.
It is expensive. But as I say, I've got coverage at the spine. I need £15,000 to correct it. The money is something that comes. It does come to you if you want it.
Sure.
I mean, I worked very, very hard. I went on this morning. I went on Celebrity. I was on a program with Jamie Easton and Zoe Ball. These people were very popular there. I did a lot of shows. I did a lot of paper articles, and I worked with Matt Slippard for my sins. And, I tried to earn as much money as I could to pay for it.
Sure. You talk about Celebrity Big Brother as an experience or an opportunity to tell your story and the importance of it. Do you feel that was conveyed?
I do feel that it was conveyed, but I also feel they didn't see me as my gender. They saw me as who I was, and they saw me as a woman. But I'll never forget Tara Griffin saying to me, "Oh no, I bet you're going to find somebody who's had surgery just like you and you'll get settled and have a family." I had looked over when I came up and I said, "Excuse me, Carol, but how dare you speak to me like that? Do you think I went to all this trouble?" Because I didn't know I was born to genders at that time. I said, all this trouble to be told I want to marry somebody who's a transgender. I'm going to marry Dean Kane or Harry Hamlin, the old star. Who I want? He said he can't. So we did have a start. And the next day she said, "I'm so sorry. It's just I don't understand." I said, "No, now you do." There were occasions. And I was the first transgender woman on television at that time. Nadia was on, but she disappeared. So when she went, I remember watching her on television, but well, that would be, and it was. But obviously I did bits on the site for about 5-6 years before. And then we did it. Then I signed with Pete Burns to promote it. And then eventually I got the job. And then I went on it. But I found that I wanted people to see me as a person and as a woman. And they did, and they do, and they always will.
I think that's when I was introduced to you, was during Celebrity Big Brother. And I think it's around the same time that I probably had just moved to the UK. And I thought, who the hell is this woman? Because I love her. And I was rooting for you the whole time. And we must say that you came in third, didn't you?
I was in the final, which as far as I was concerned, was just as good as winning it.
It is.
Didn't win the bad. That was all rubbish. And there's more I can say about Celebrity Big Brother, but I'll be banned, so I can't.
Did you make lifelong friends? Is that a real thing that happens when you're bonding in that house, or is it the opposite?
But it's temporary. It doesn't last, unfortunately. And Carol said she'd never speak to us again except Charlotte. And then Mario left the house. And when he saw that I was doing very well on the score, because you weren't allowed to leave the house, you see, or look in the papers or anything.
Right.
A completely different man. Not nice at all. It was because he knew that before they just thought I was a little blonde who didn't know everything, who didn't have a chance to win it. But my most one that I had trouble with was Les from Coronation Street, classic Coronation Street. And I bet Louis was on Instagram all the time. And he pinned Louis Les on the wall and said, don't you dare go into that room and disturb Lauren, don't you dare. And he didn't, So, and Louis' mother died at that time. So that's why he was such a difficult person to live with for me.
Sure. I mean, it is a bit crazy when you think about it, because if you did that in real life, I know that was real life. It was the situation you were put in. But can you imagine if you just rocked up at my house and we had a bunch of people in the house and we said, you can't have TV, you can't have social media, you can't have all these things, but there's going to be cameras rolling for 24 hours.
The toilet rolls moving, the toilets. So yeah, there was everybody.
Wild. Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would. But once you do it once, you can do any show again. Once you do Celebrity Big Brother, the worst part about it is knowing you've been nominated and knowing the people around you nominated you because you fall and because you wear high heels. And I did fall a lot, hence the neurosurgery. But so I fell a lot. And Les said to me, if you wear butt shoes, I promise you won't nominate you. So I did. When he was voted out, I went back onto the heels again. No. And in a few years, next year, I'll be wearing them again because I miss them. I miss my shoes.
Let's just talk about that, because you just had quite an interesting time in hospital not that long ago, and you were induced into a coma even.
They put me in a coma because I had a seizure. It was because I had bleed on the brain. I woke up in a hospital with no hair and 4 holes in my head. On my own as well. It wasn't my family's fault, it just happened that way. And he said, yeah, because I was having terrible headaches over and over again. And I'd had a few falls and hit my head a few times. But I always do that because I've got dyslexia. So, and so it was one of those things, but it was a shock. And having no headache was a shock. And then he said, you've got a tear in your spine. So there could be bleeding from the brain going down to the spine. And I've had 2 years and then I had to learn to walk again. And then they said, you've got dystonia, which means you can't walk. You walk on your nails with every feet. So then I had to have Botox injected into my toes so I can walk again. And now I'm having my foot done so that I can walk in heels again, wear shoes properly again. And I'm having those big shoes, one of those huge shoes for about 8 weeks. And then I've got to walk. Then I'm going to get my balance right to walk again. I had 5 minutes between life and death. So if they haven't caught me in time, then I wouldn't be here. So that's why I have regular CAT scans and happening in 2 weeks' time, which is always a worry. But I don't worry anymore. After you go through something like this, it can either make you paranoid. It can either make you an unhappy person or a happier person. And I believe it's maybe a happier one because it's made me not worry about little things. It really has.
How do you deal with the negativity that comes with social media?
Well, I don't look at any of the comments. I don't read any comments. I do go on Instagram very much, but I have to go on to promote my gallery, longhouse.com, because during the pandemic, nobody was doing anything. So I had to do something to make some money. So that's why I started putting my online. And you can get a lot out with your art. I did a lot of hospital art while I was in hospital as well. I was in hospital for 8.5 months, which is time. And they said, oh, well, the tail of your spine you'll die. You're going to die. You are going to die because the blood will go through your head and your tear. I said, so they kept telling me you're going to die. I was on oxycodone, I was on the morphine. I didn't know what I was saying. I was horrible to my family and I apologize to my family. Oxycodone is a good temporary both, which is a good one. But I was still having these terrible, terrible headaches. So they had to find something to get rid of them. But I still get headaches. That always will because of the 4 holes in my head. That's one of the side effects from having neurosurgery. It's been 2 years of a lot of getting better, and it's still a work in progress. I want to be back on the stage again, dancing again, wherever.
And you will be. You will be. I was going to say, when I hear your name or see you sitting in front of me, I just see somebody who has had obstacle after obstacle just hitting you. But you're like, you just push them, you bulldoze them away, and you just rise above. And I think that's such an important message.
Thank you. Well, when you're waiting, I know it's not in comparison to having such a hospital scare and everything, but this reminds me of when you're waiting to be nominated. There's nothing house, and they put music on all day. We hate you all day. You just, oh my God. And then there's big X on your face, and you've got to wait all day. It's just, and then you're sitting there nervous. I never get nervous, but I was a nervous wreck. And then they'd say, you're safe, and then you rest, then you can sleep for the night. But yeah, you're right. You know, you have to bounce back no matter what you're going through. Because if you don't bounce back and if you don't have a positive mental attitude, what is the point of living? And I've realized now that it's best not to talk about your problems. Put them in your book, but don't tell your family because they worry. And I must say, you know, they have all been so wonderful. They really have. They still worry. And I would like to take that worry away. But I can't help that. But I would like to stop the worrying. If I could take it away from them, I would.
And talking about writing your book, it's an outlet for you, isn't it? It's a way of getting your feelings and emotions and your experiences out there and sharing them with the world. And like you said, it's for people to pick up and read, and they can relate. Most people who are going to read those stories can relate in one way or another, and you're helping them.
Well, I only found out today that it's been 3 years in progress, and now it's just some more work to do. And then there's another book I'm working on with a celebrity house they called Nadia. Was it Nadine or Nadia? Anyway, she's asked me to write, she's interviewing celebrities who are in the house about their moments. So I'll be doing a few chapters for that book as well. So I'm writing 2 books at the same time at the moment.
Look at you go.
I like to keep busy. It keeps your mind busy, especially with everything else you're going through. It keeps you thinking about other things than just dwelling, because people do dwell far too much. If you want, you can dwell, or you can go into a hellhole where you never come out. So you have to just stay happy and positive and know that there is nobody stronger than you.
What is your fan base like?
I call them my stars and my angels, and they are. Oh, they're all lovely. I don't get that many trolls. They're all lovely. I am very hypercritical. I am a perfectionist. I'm a sensitive person. But I have become stronger. I think when somebody says you're going to die, you just think, well, I met this woman and she had 3 weeks to live and she just got engaged and she had children. And I looked at her and she was so happy. And I thought, well, you know, I'm going to be like that woman. I'm going to be happy no matter what. And when I did, get that to a degree, I've always been happy because I've always been the same as I was a celebrity Big Brother. That is who I am. And I remember Dusty saying, Laura never changed. And I wrote Dusty, and he's not with us anymore. Because he was lovely. And he had a wheel with caught me in the toilets, by the way. That's right.
Let's talk about music, because music is a big part of your life as well.
It is. I sang in more London gigs than hot dinners. There's not one film I haven't worked on. I was on the show with, what's her name, the Vivian, before she passed away. I was on the show with Bag of Chips from RuPaul's Drag Race. I performed RuPaul's Drag Race before. I've won a show with him, with my belt. Yeah, I've sung so many, the Vauxhall Tavern, I've done them all. And there's nothing like singing to people who love your music, and I have written some more songs because of everything that's happened. It comes naturally to me. When I was in school, I went back to college. I used to clean in a pub for the CrossFit. We had no money at the time and I needed a job. I was in love with the boss there as well, and that does help. Didn't care. I just stared at him and it made everything all right. The floors and took the long johns out the toilet. It still was fine. And now I've lost my train of thought, Kevin.
New music.
Oh, yes, that's right. So I've lost my train of thought again. Yeah, my music. So, my first song was I'm a Woman. I thought that my mother told me, she said, Lauren, I have something to tell you. I thought, God, help us all. What is it? Well, there was a problem when you were born. Okay, what was it then? Well, we knew something was wrong because there was this very strange doctor. And I said, just not get to the point there. I kicked him like that, but that was what I was going on in my head. And she said, well, you were an intersex baby. Really? And I only found out this a few months ago. But when I wrote I'm a Woman, I was born a boy, but now I'm a girl. Give me a chance if you change your mind. We can change the world. And of course, those words aren't true, really, because I had two genders.
Sure.
But then there was the song I sang with All Dressed Up, which was basically true because I was all dressed up and I had no place to go. And then there was O'Reilly, which is Up a Do, which is the most popular song about sex. Right? So I called it O'Reilly, which is a really, I haven't done a video for that, but when I'm dancing, Dave, that's the first thing I'll do.
Amazing. That's one song. Whenever I would speak your name and say, oh, I'm going to have a conversation with Lauren, everybody sings that song to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a site that seemed all right. Met a band, always found, but seemed all right. I thought we'd talk. Or I could, yeah, but it's sexy. It is a sexy song.
It is.
No, I was, it's sexy, but you don't have to dress sexy. You don't have to wear short skirts to be sexy. I will be wearing short skirts when I put my heels again now. I'm telling you now. And this is my short skirt. But I know how to dress and I know how to, I was a fashion expert on Bit on the Side. I had my own slot. So, I know how it works.
It's amazing. I can't wait to see you back. The whole Lauren, the whole circle, just coming back with your short skirts and your shoes and just loving life, which you technically still do, even through all these hardships. And I think that's such an important part of your story.
You have to be strong for your family too. You can't crash because they'll crash. You can't cry. I think I cried so much. Could probably have the Atlantic would probably come down. But also, all my post relationships hurt me too. My ex-boyfriends hurt me too. But after this happened, it's almost like being born again twice. And that's why I'm happy being single, Kevin. I really am.
That was my next question was, what's in store for a love life with Lauren?
No, I don't want one. I've had too many men. Now I've just got two. No, I just don't have the time. And now they want me, so I'm sorry, but I'm not available. I'm too busy painting. You see, when you're with a man, they change you. You become them because you love them. And you become a part of them. You think, oh, John, like that. I'm just liking that. Oh, no, I won't wear that. You change. I don't want to change. They either like me as I am or not at all. And it takes you along. You must love yourself. And that is the most important thing. I was with two abusive relationships, and it teaches you a lot. And then a lot of OEO, which was now, but I think I've been celibate now for about 5-6 years. But the thing is, women don't really think of sex as much as men do. And I did my bit with the sex part, and I'm quite happy with the memories. I had my fun. If they want me to have, if I want some sex, I can click my fingers and they'll come running, even in my condition. I don't have a problem, darling. It's not a problem. But the thing is, you either have it or you don't. And I do have it. But the thing is, I don't need it anymore because sex for a woman isn't just sex. Women who say, oh, I'm like Sex in the City and I'm going to be one of these really, it's not like that. It's all up there. When they need you and you're left alone, that is the worst feeling in the world because you gave your body to them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they left you. I don't want to feel like that again. You meet the right one. And then they've got to wait 6 months before they can get a kiss, maybe, if they're lucky. That's the way to do. And it took me 30 years to figure that one out. Because the only way you can experience it is by going through it. And I've been through it. And now I know you've got to treat a mean to keep him king. And that is so true.
I love that. Good for you. I'm so glad you're owning your power.
Because if you don't own your power, who does?
So true. It's so true and so important. One thing that I do have to mention is you were the first celebrity, if not the only, I'm not sure, to appear on Naked Attraction. How was that?
It was really weird. Being on Naked Attraction. I needed the money. I was living in Walthamstow in London with a bag of chips from Brooklyn Sideways. And I was singing in a pub at the time. What was it? What pub was it? The Vauxhall Tavern, or one of them. And the Glory, that's right. And this man came up to me and said, I've got a fantastic burger. Would you think of going on Naked Attraction? Because he was an outcome. I said, oh, I've never heard of that show before. He said, well, you wouldn't have the fee. And I said, well, I'm not going to show my body off for that one. So it took a long time, but we did sort of be out. And no one knows this is a secret because they're not supposed to pay you anything.
Right.
We're going to show off everything for nothing. And I wanted it to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it for the transgender community. I wanted everybody just because people are saying, you sure that you don't have a package there somewhere? That's what you live with. So I wanted to go on there and show people my body to say, this is me. I'm proud of it. Don't you dare say one more word after I've done this show. And then you put you in your pod and then they show each part of your body. But I was the first celebrity to go naked and now everyone is. And it was, and then he didn't want me. So then I told him, because he said I was too old and I couldn't have children. So I just went, he wanted a hug. I said, you're not touching this cavity and left it. And it was really, really good. I was drinking afterwards because you don't end up getting you naked as well in the end. You do forget that you're actually naked.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's filmed in Manchester. Is it filmed in Manchester? I think so. Yeah, Manchester. And I don't regret it. And it has been the most successful show that I've been on. But it's the last show I've been on because I don't think people can forget it. Oh, don't worry. She's not making a chance. Please God.
Talk about owning your power.
Well, I think it wasn't for the money because I didn't go along. It was because I wanted to keep women and men to see my body and know that what they're looking at was the woman's body. And also for all the other people who are trapped in their own body. And that's a terrible experience. And to show people, if I can do it, you can do it. And you can own your own power too.
That's a great message in itself.
Yeah. When you live a lot, you learn a lot.
I'm just going to move into some quick fire questions because they lead into some great conversation. And I feel like we're going to be quite good at this.
When you've got 3 minutes to do a show or answer questions, you get very good at being very different.
Let's start with, do you have a bucket list?
I did do the ice bucket list once with Ryan with a cold water list again.
So a bucket list, so like a list that you have of things that you'd like to do before you die.
Right. I do have a bucket list, yes. I would like to go on holiday. That sounds small, but I haven't been on holiday for about 15 years, so it's a big thing for me. I'd like to wear high heels again. I'd like to have no health problems, and I'd like to fall in love eventually. In time, I'm in love with myself. I'm in love with who I'm happy being single.
I feel like you love because whenever you mention love, you get a sparkle in your eye.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, if it's not with the right man, you can love, but it's not the right one. I was on this swimming with one, and I was on another one with on this morning. Never take them on television. Keep them quiet. Happen again.
Keep them to yourself.
Yeah, if they want fame, then they're not good for you.
That's so true. That's so true. What's your favorite room in your house?
My favorite room, I suppose, is my bedroom because I watch Knots Landings. And then I watch old movies, and that's my thing. That's what I do to relax. I want to learn all vintage stuff. And I do like my bedroom and my bed. My bed is my favorite place. I love sleep. Sleep's keeps you young.
Maybe that's what I'm missing. I need sleep. What song gets you on the dance floor?
Any song, really. Any song can get me on the dance floor because I'm a ballerina too. I can do ballet. So I used to be able to ballet again. I learned when I was in school, they told me I couldn't sing, I'll never dance, I was crap. But then I went to college, what year was on, I got the diploma and everything. I realized I wanted to go to the Cardiff Theatre, and they said there were 3 judges there. This is before I did my series 9 to 5. And they said, oh, no. And I remember crying in the bath toilet because I just given my job, I was a cleaner. I just given my job, and they still are no good. And Mum said, dry your eyes now. Just remember who you are. Look at me now. So it just shows you. Don't listen to what people say. I've got 3 songs out there that must be there for the rest of time. And everything else I've done will always be there for the rest of time. So that tells all those people they were wrong.
That's so true. Do you have a lucky number?
I do. 13. That was the number for the final of Celebrity Big Brother. That was the day I always got good news. This is Friday the 13th. People say it's unlucky, but I believe it's lucky. It's always lucky. But
that has always been a superstitious of mine, and I've learned to love it myself.
You do. You don't believe in these rumors about, everywhere I go, magpies follow me, blackbirds follow me. And they say that, the ones on, the side cover with all those horror films. But I just see them as lovely birds. Don't believe anything like that. Just be you.
Exactly. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
I had a cup of coffee today. No, I'm definitely a cup of tea person, but I do still the tea, as you know.
I do.
Juice, as you know. And I think I still see more than drink it. I've got dyslexia, so I can't walk in a straight line. When I was on Celebrity Big Brother, there was so many things I dropped. They had to put rubber around them so that they wouldn't break anymore. It was just, and they said, I've seen more idols and not from that girl than I've ever seen in my life. It's just, I am very accident prone.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment is being the woman I am today. My proudest accomplishment is coming from James to Laura. That's my proudest accomplishment because it was something I really wanted to be, to fulfill and to live my life. Because it was like living in a burning building. I could have got a terrorist and, killed, and I did try suicide. I did. So, to be here now and to, even in the circumstances I'm in with the CAT scans and the surgery cutting up and having to learn to walk up again, I'm the woman I've always wanted to be. And that to me is better than any diamond or any man in the whole world.
Do you have a positive memory about James?
I don't remember that much of James, to be honest with you, because I was 18 when I had the surgery. So I don't remember anything. I do, in my book, obviously there's reference of my childhood, and I can ask my family a lot of it. I don't remember. I do remember being on Terry. I do remember they put stickers on all the China, and I was only 8. And I thought, horrible people to do that to an 8-year-old on live TV. Because everybody picks up the bottom. You always do. And if you're 8, you're bound to. But they didn't because they wanted to trick me on live television. So I said, no, if I didn't understand what China was, I had my safe answer, which was, I believe there was within the 1800s and there was within the hundreds. So I answered it because they always tried to trick me on television, other style, to see if I really was a genius. Somebody said I was a 12-year-old dwarf, which was a 40-year-old. So I never went to about Oprah and rivers all over the world. But I don't have many memories of that, unfortunately, because I think it's because of the neurosurgery. All I remember is being Laura now. I don't remember James at all. It's sad in a way, but it's the way life is. And it's what happens when you have a very serious operation.
Sure. If there was a film about your life, who would you want to play you?
I quite like the woman who was what was her name? She does this adorable.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I always say I'm like Marilyn, so somebody like Marilyn, but she is sort of like Marilyn, so yeah.
If you could have a conversation with your, let's say, 16-year-old self, what would be the top advice you would give yourself?
Be more assertive with the producers and CV people. Get contacts. Talk to people. Don't rush it. Remember, you're only a child. You're not an adult yet. Remember that, because I always forgot I wasn't an adult. That's why I always appeared so grown up.
Sure, that's great advice. What's the most unusual thing you've ever seen in somebody else's home? It's a crazy question.
What's the most interesting thing I've ever seen at someone else's home? I haven't seen anything unusual in my whole life.
I love this because you either know instantly what the answer would be or you have to really think about it.
I really don't, because there's never really been anything I've seen that's been really like, oh, really?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do. I believe we're living in dimension. I'm a telepath. I'm very spiritual. I do see ghosts. I see or I feel them. I believe that nobody knows where we've come from, but we know in our hearts that there is someone else out there because we wouldn't be here otherwise. So yes, of course.
And finally, if you could give a parting message to your fans, what would you like to say to them?
I'd like to thank you for all your support and love throughout everything. Because if it wasn't for my fans and my family, I wouldn't be here. But most of all, as Elizabeth Taylor said, which I'll never forget, she said, if I've hurt anybody in my life, I apologize. Because if I died tomorrow, my biggest regret would be if I made you cry, I'm sorry. But I had no choice. I had to hurt someone, and I'll always feel unhappy because of that. But unfortunately, in life, you have to do things you don't want to do. And, and you sometimes do it for all the best reasons.
I loved speaking to you. I could speak to you forever. I am going to share all of your art, your music, everything that I can share possibly, because we have listeners in so many different corners of the world. And some people would not have heard of who Lauren is. And they will hear this and they will say, I want to know more. And so I am going to share all those things. And I'm excited to find out what's the future brings for Lauren, because I think you're just getting started.
Please come be good. And I'm sure I should say there'll be a little series probably coming out. I've seen the cover today, so I'm not going to pick the picture they used, but we'll change that one. But yeah, the book will shock everybody.
Amazing.
Things in there that you'll never forget for the rest of your life.
That's exciting. That's a good sell. I can't wait.
I'm glad. You'll be the first one I'll send it to. That's how happy.
I cannot wait. It will go on my wall.
I'm going to have the first signed cover.
Love it. Love it. I will keep in touch. Thank you, Lauren.
It's my pleasure, Kevin. It was lovely meeting you.
And that's it. So would you like me to re-ask anything or take anything out? Or good. I'm going to have a sip of wine. Let's have a drink together first.
Thank you, Kevin.
Cheers. That was very good. I just need some press shots, if you can send them over, and then we can use them for promo, and I'll send you all the promo bits. I think it's going to be a beautiful message.
Yeah, it is. I think it's basic. I should have said, there's a lot of people who need advice about health issues as well. Mm-hmm. I can help in any way. I will.
Yeah, I think when people have a platform, I think it's so important to use it in a positive way. And I know, just following you, and you're very honest about your struggles. And I think that's so important, because everybody sees this perfect social media platform with people, and they don't actually see the real person.
You can't hide who you are. You can change your face, you can change, but can't change your heart. And that's what people try to do. But the most important thing with women is they always need a man. Like Katie Price, I know Katie. She always needs one. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. And it's the day you decide you don't want one, that's when you get happy. And then you get to realize it will happen. But if you're happy on your own, then you are living your life.
Yeah. And if you're happy on your own, you're in a relationship, you're just going to be extremely happy, because you're just going to bring happiness all around.
But it isn't something I think about.
Yeah.
As I said, it's going to take a strong man to have me in their life.
And you're going to whip him into shape.
I'm going to enjoy it though, Kevin. Enjoy it.
That's the problem. We can't get them too excited.
No. It doesn't take long.
I love it. I love chatting, Lauren, and I will definitely keep in touch.
Keep in touch. I've got a feeling it's going to be a start of a beautiful venture. Now, because I never waste my makeup. So if I have to put a slap on and everything, I always go on Instagram, because it's like, killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly. You go, girl. Show the moose boss. Love it. Have a great evening.
To Kevin.
Lots of love.
You and thank you. And I know it's going to be a great success.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
Bye-bye.